welcome back to my channel. It's Shelby. So this is the first video I've done on books in a good minute. I actually don't remember the last video I have filmed on books because I went through a huge reading slump. Yeah, last year in 2021 I only read two books. One was The Handmaid's Tale and one was The Testaments, which I think is the second, or like same world realm as that. And so those are both very good. I highly recommend both of them. But finally this year I was able to get out of my reading slump. So we're gonna have a couple book videos coming up. So this is one of them, and I think I've got enough books for 2 more already. So plan on 3 at least within the next few months. Yeah, so I didn't want to do too many books because I don't want to be too rambly. So this one is gonna have 6 books in it. I have my laptop here with like my Goodreads up, so I can kind of refresh myself. And the first book, this is the book that got me out of my reading slump. And I think that's amazing because Colleen Hoover is in right now. Like, everyone loves Colleen Hoover. And this book truly got me out of my reading slump. Like, I have not went a day since I picked up this book not reading. Actually, maybe I've went a couple days because of like traveling and stuff like that, but I've pretty much went like every day reading at least a few pages of a book. So it ends with this. I'm gonna give like my Goodreads review and then maybe add on to that. So I gave this a 4-star, which truly, like, this is the book that got me out of my reading slump. Like, I should give this like a 8-star, but I enjoyed this book. I wish it ended differently. I wish that there was a redemptive arc for one of our people. I am excited for the sequel to this book, or not necessarily the sequel, but it being told from Atlas's perspective, right? That's who. I thought there was like a little thing at the end of this. Maybe not. No, there's not. So she has another book coming out that goes along with this, and I think it's like It Starts With Us, or It Starts something. I think It Starts With Us. And that'll go along with this. But yeah, I really liked the original couple in the book. I liked that it somewhat flipped between her, like, Lily's childhood, or not, yeah, like she talked about her trauma. Like, this book, Colleen Hoover, this is the only one I've read by her, I believe. She talks about some deep stuff. So like, if you have been like sexually or physically assaulted, I probably would not read this book if like you're still struggling with that. So that's trigger warning for this. I really liked it. I feel like my words are not making sense. I've not given like a verbal book review in a while. So also follow my Goodreads. It's linked down below. So then you'll see my reviews faster. My second book that I think, though, like thinking about it, like this got me out of my reading slump, but this kept me out of my reading slump. This book is like my favorite book, I think, of all time at this point. Like, out of all the books I've read this year, this might be one of my favorites. I really like Taylor Jenkins Reid, but I really like Christina Lauren. So they're a duo that writes together. And I love Olive. I absolutely love Olive. So I gave this book a 4-star, but looking back on it, I would give this a 5-star. Olive. She's my favorite person. Like, I don't know, there's something about, she's quirky. She's like super self-conscious. Like, I just love Olive with all my heart. I did originally try this book like a year ago, and I only got like a chapter in and was like, I'm over this crap. I've noticed that like Christina Lauren books, you do have to read like 50 pages in and then you're like hooked. I've read another one of their books and thoroughly enjoyed it since then. But when you finally get past it, hooked. And this is one of those books. Like, I could go back and read this one. I think they're actually turning both of these into like shows or movies or something. So I will be watching this. I love it. Like, it was enemies to lovers trope, which I think I'm a enemies to lovers girly. And just like, I want more. I want to know more about Olive and Ethan. Like, and I want to know, does like Amy, I don't know her name, it's Ami, I kept calling her Umi, like, does she find someone? Like, I hope so. I really liked this one. I want more. I want a sequel. That's all I gotta say. Then I have Watch Us Rise, which this is by Renee Watson and Ellen Hagen. This is, I believe it's like a mid-grade. I believe it's mid-grade. It's set in a high school. Jasmine and Chelsea are best friends. They go through a lot. So this is set in like a school year setting. Like, it starts in August and I believe it goes through to June. It goes through May. And each chapter is written by either Jasmine or Chelsea, and they're very into like the arts. I believe it's set in New York. Yeah, in New York. And like, they both go through a lot of crap, and they are little activists. I did enjoy it. I did only give it a 3-star because the pacing was weird. There were certain parts that were really slow. There were certain parts that were really fast. And I didn't feel like there was much closure at the end. That is probably my biggest issue with reading books. There's not a lot of closure in the end. But I do distinctly remember, like, the last 2 chapters, I remember crying. So I read the last 2 chapters at nap time at work, because I work at a daycare, and I cried. So there's that. Next, 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Guys, I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. I need to go through and read all of her books. I have read this. I read Daisy Jones on the Sixth and Malibu Rising, which the 3 of them kind of go together. They're like in the same realm. They're in the same universe. And like some of the characters overlap, which I think is really cool. Her newest book, Carrie Soto is Back. I think that's her newest one. Carrie Soto something. Yeah, that just came out, I believe. I'm not gonna purchase it until it comes out in paperback. If you know where you can purchase it in paperback, let me know. Hook a sister up. Because I prefer reading paperback. But I really want to read it because Carrie Soto was in Malibu Rising. But back to 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I give this a 4-star. I have a hard time giving out 5 stars, but like, I could give this one a 5-star as well. It captivates you. It is told from like a I don't know how to explain it. It's told from like an article perspective, but also like a book perspective, because essentially this girl is writing a book on Evelyn Hugo, and so this is kind of the book, but it's also like how the book got happening, if that makes sense. And like why Evelyn chose who she chose to write the book. That's a really big thing in the end. And it goes through Evelyn's 7 husbands, but it really talks about like her true, like the true love story of Evelyn Hugo, and I just really like this book. There were twists towards the end that were very good. The last sentence, and anyways, I think once people know the truth, they will be more interested. That's gonna give a lot away. Never mind. But the last paragraph is beautifully written. If you have read this, you know the last sentence. If you haven't read this and want to spoil it for yourself, go read my review on Goodreads. But I am not going to spoil it for you. Although I kind of half gave it away. My next book is The Mothers by Britt Bennett. I gave this a 2-star. I did start reading this. It's interesting. I started reading this midday, the day that Roe versus Wade got overturned. And a big chunk of this book talks about, or like alludes to, her abortion. I wasn't a fan of this book because of the way it was told. It's basically told, and I didn't realize this, but it's told from like the perspective of like the mothers, which are pretty much basically just like some church grandmas that like sit around and gossip, essentially. And it also talks a lot about like there's different stories within the chapter, and I had a hard time following that, because you're gonna have like 3 to 5 different stories within a chapter, and like halfway through a thought it like switches. So I was not a super huge fan of this book, but it's worth a read. But I would not necessarily reread it. Like Watch Us Rise, and The On-Honeymooners, and The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo are books that I would reread. I would very much reread those. But the other 2 I would not. The Mothers especially. This book is red, white, and royal blue. I apparently gave this a 5-star. I don't give 5 stars often. So, let me just read. I'm obsessed with enemies to lovers trope. This is a huge enemies to lover trope. Casey McQuiston, I liked the writing for this one. There's another book that I read that I did not necessarily like. Also, this is another one that takes a while to get into it. It took me probably 100 pages to get into it and actually like enjoy it. It's funny, I did finish this book on the 4th of July, so it's kind of funny. But I loved the turmoil between Alex and what was his name? Henry? Alex and Henry? Yeah. I loved the turmoil of Alex and Henry, and like what the 2 different like respective countries like went through for that relationship. And like it's beautifully written, and like for them to like understand their own identities as gay men, like it was beautiful to see them like come to reality and like understand that and come out of the closet a little bit. And like truly Henry's turmoil was incredible to read. I am not a gay man, so I don't know how accurate this is, but I really liked it. I would highly recommend this book. Yeah. Again, another book that had me in tears, the last chapter. So, there's that. Yeah. That is my book review for my first 6 books that I read this year. First 6 books that I've read in a while. And yeah, I will have another review soon. If you have any like book recommendations, let me know. Also, I'm gonna include my Amazon book wish list down below. Just as like, if you want to check out what I'm thinking of reading, or like you can check out my Goodreads, but I keep my Amazon one, I think I keep my Amazon one more up to date of like what I want to purchase. But check out my Goodreads as well, so you can kind of see like what I'm thinking. And there's also the reviews of the other books I've read this year already on my Goodreads, so you won't have to even wait to watch the next video, even though you should watch it. And now I'm just rambling, so yeah, thanks for watching. Check out my other videos. I'm not sure when my next book review video will go up, but probably soon. I think I'm going to record the next one here within a few days, but I do have a lot of vlogs and other stuff that are pre-recorded, so yeah, it might be like a month, but check it out when it does happen. Also, I have a Bookstagram that might be linked down below. I will let you know though, because I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.